There is a bias towards the SEC in the AP polling every single week, James. It is always in favor of the Southeastern Conference, God's conference in the eyes of many. But to others, people think that they get just too much credit just because they're in the SEC and they're really not as good. James, what say you?
You know what's crazy? I don't know why, Spence, we always hear this crybaby analogy. This is almost like victim status. You know what I mean? Like, past 2 years, we've had two Big Ten teams win the Natty. Of course, everyone likes to look at SEC versus the non-competitive bowl games that nobody cares about. But Spence, in all reality, we always say numbers never lie. And Spence, remind me, does it matter, if your strength of record, your strength of schedule, and your football power index, does it matter when you're playing almost 5 ranked opponents in a row every week, it seems like, in the SEC? Because I think it would matter. Now, do I think the SEC is biased on college game day locations? Maybe. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Sometimes I feel like college game day, they could go a different direction than what they're doing every week. But in all reality, Spence, the play is on the field. And when we don't have schedules like the Big Ten, where, yeah, Indiana played Illinois one week. Yeah, Indiana played Oregon another week. But Spence, round me out their schedule where they're going to play Rutgers, Purdue, freaking Michigan State. Like, these are teams not even in like the top 70, 60 FPI. When you got Alabama, who's playing, as you remind me, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and it keeps going on
Yeah,
and
that
on.
Florida State loss looks worse and worse by the week, though.
That does look worse and worse. But then again, hey, if that loss looks worse and you win, let's say 11 straight, then, Notre Dame's 2 losses, they won't look too bad as
Oh,
well.
don't do this to me.
I know. I
Don't
got to
do it.
do it.
Don't speak that into
I
existence.
got to do it too. But I'll say this, like, in all reality, like, everyone, pump the brakes on the SEC bias, because at the end of the day, they laid out strength of schedule, strength of record, and FPI and all that will be in consideration. It's not our fault that Tennessee, who's a 2-loss team, lost to Alabama and Georgia, who are 4-5. Yeah, Illinois lost to 1-2, but guess what? Illinois lost to Indiana 63-10. We'd have a different conversation if Tennessee lost to Georgia 63-10. Or, if LSU, who got 2 losses to Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, both in the top 10 by one possession games. Still, their losses are way better than teams like Illinois' losses, Arizona State's losses, even Michigan's loss. And again, is it somewhat of a bias? It may be, but at the end of the day, it's all reality. What we see on the field is what we see on the field. Nobody's getting served free dubs in the SEC. Nobody's getting served free playoff spots in the SEC. You either earn it or you don't. And so, like we did last year, Spence, if you're 9-3 in the SEC, you probably should not be in, because you got to be 10-2, bare minimum.
If you join the SEC, you need to know that's what you have to expect. But let me ask you, James, I hear all this and I don't disagree with you. But what this leads me to believe is that you don't think it should be Ohio State and Indiana ranked 1 and 2. This sounds like a pro Texas A&M being at least 2. Some might even argue, especially if they see how strong the SEC is, the team that is currently leading the SEC is the Texas A&M Aggies. So why wouldn't they have a case to be the number 1 team in the nation?
Well, I'll tell you this, Spence. One, because A&M does not, in my head, I know they got the win against Notre Dame, who is at 12. But other than that, you couldn't sniff me out another valuable win. Now, at the remaining of their schedule, you get LSU, you get Missouri, you get freaking Texas. That could, you go undefeated. Yeah, you probably will get a number 1 spot. But I gotta give my credit to Ohio State and Indiana. Indiana's won their 2 big ranked matchups, one at home, one on the road, which the road game is, I always give it an edge up higher than Ohio State. But Ohio State's always been one since they defeated Texas when they were preseason ranked 1. So in all honesty, no, Texas A&M in my eyes should stay at 3. It's weird to say they're at 3, because Alabama and Georgia's schedules have been more impressive. The only difference is there's a big 0 on A&M's record, but we'll see what happens. I will say this, Spence. You talked about these other teams, and we already know what's going to happen. We're getting 12 teams. Spence, I'm going to piss you off. 2 of those spots are going to Notre Dame in a group of 5. So we got 10 slots. Spence, do you have any hope with either the Big 12 or the ACC conferences? Do you have any hope right now? Can I tell you some of the teams?
I think I feel very strongly how the BYU Cougars, I think they will definitely sneak in right now. I think they're playing very good football. Texas Tech losing this past weekend was a huge blow to the conference because they looked like a legit team in all of college football. Top to bottom going into
They
this
did.
week, Texas Tech was one of the top programs on the season, but embarrassing loss. I think the Big 12, they'll probably get just the one. I think they'll get just their standard one, and then it'll be filled in with Big Ten and SEC.
So out of the ACC, we already saw the horrible loss by Miami. Carson Pick. Carson Pick. Oh man, how'd that rolled off my tongue?
I think that's a fair Freudian slip. I think that's
Yeah,
fair.
we're talking about lost to Louisville at home. Of course, right now the two highest ranked ACC teams, undefeated Georgia Tech and that one loss Miami team, both in the top 10. Spence, how confident do we feel about these two teams as the ACC representative, or are we only going to get one? Because looking at the schedule, we look at Georgia Tech's schedule, probably going undefeated all the way to the Georgia game, but it's a non conference, so who gives a crap?
I still believe in Miami. I know that's crazy to say. I know how bad Carson Beck was, and he was bad. Four
Bad.
picks is about as bad as you get. 4 picks and a 3-point loss. You don't have to look very far to see who to pin that game on. Even if you think some of the picks had context to them, Carson Beck needs to own up for that. But that being said, I'm not going to erase everything he's done this season. He revamped himself in Miami, and I'm not ready to throw all that away just because he lost to Louisville in embarrassing fashion. It is just one game, and we were saying not too long ago that Miami's the best team, top to bottom in the country.
The resume was impressive. Yeah.
It was not that long ago. So I still am okay with Miami. I think they could make some noise in the playoffs, but I am a little bit, maybe Carson Beck is who we thought he was in terms of what's he going to be on the next level, or can we trust him to win the big one when it comes down to the playoffs? I think they'll get in though, and I feel like they could make some noise.
Yeah, so I will say this. Okay, so but do you think we get into ACC teams? You feel confident in the two?
Are we still confident Georgia Tech's they're gonna get it all the way there?
If you look at their schedule, we're getting undefeated all the way to the Georgia game. They'll lose that game. We'll see at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but they'll probably play the title game. Matter of fact, Spence, the interesting part of why I wanted to bring that up, the BYU Texas Tech game. Tech, yeah, they had the horrible loss, but it was with their backup. If we can find a way to get two Big 12 teams in, which that would have to mean BYU go undefeated and maybe meet Tech in the Big 12 championship game. I mean, you look at BYU's schedule, which unfortunately is going to come down to the Tech game because look, we got Iowa State, Tech, TCU, Cincinnati, and Central Florida. So I'm with you, Spence. I do think there's only going to be one Big 12 team, which is going to piss off everybody because it's going to be SEC bias because whose schedule's comparing with the SEC? No one's. But I'll say this, Spence. If there's one team that I'm like very impressed with, there was a few teams. One team I'm impressed with who's going to be a sleeper in my eye for the ACC. Give me Virginia. Give me Virginia. They've actually beaten some teams. I know like the new tweets are, beating Florida State ain't for everybody. And they at least beat Florida State. Virginia beat Florida State. They even beat Louisville, who beat Miami. So at the end of it, hey, Virginia might sneak into this. Could we get 3 ACC teams? I don't think so. But Spence,
I don't know.
yeah, that would piss off a lot of our SEC allies or maybe the Big Ten victim crybabies at the time. But Spence, I'm not gonna lie to you. Hey, I'm very excited for this upcoming week. Man, what do we got on the schedule?
I think the biggest game of the week, Oklahoma hosting Ole Miss. Two teams that are not looking to take a second loss on their schedule. Big one there in Norman. We also have LSU and Texas A&M. I guess this would be what many would say Texas A&M getting their first big test of the season besides the Notre Dame game. They're going into Death Valley. So that should be a fun one. That's the 6:30 game.
That will be a fun one. Okay, hey, Spence, guess what? Hey, always on big game energy. Hey, like, follow, subscribe. We're going to keep keeping up with this college football thing. Don't worry. Hey, I know we do a lot of live content on the NFL side. We're going to get some live content on the NBA side, but don't worry. When the college football gets to the playoffs, we will go live. Don't worry about that. We will react to it just like we did last year. And full authentic fashion. No, no fakeness on the side.
Oh
But
yeah,
Spence,
but I will say, James. I mean, we should be honest. We do cheer for a bunch of teams. Both of you and I. We cheer for a lot of teams. We're kind
I
of
do.
sluts when it comes to fandom
Oh
of college
yeah.
football teams.
Hey, bro, no, hold up. We'll say it like this because it fits in with the college football. It's just our college phase. It's our whole phase. The college football players do it. They bounce the 3-4 teams in NIL. We can like 16 teams. That's fine. Hey, we're going through a phase, and guess what? How many teams you like in the NFL?
Really, I'd answer one, but kind of two. I am an owner of the Green Bay Packers, but it's Texans first, forever and always.
Hey, look, we go through our whole phase of college teams. We only like one team. We married one team in the NFL. That's how it works, bro. How it works.
The Packers are literally my work wife.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, man. Hey, always keep up with big game energy. Hey, don't worry. We'll have reactions to next week's college football. Hopefully, hey, no more coaches get fired after last week. That was a lot. But other than that, we'll see you on the flip side.
Looking at you, Mike Norvell.